Hi, I'm Ryan Argentieri, founder and host of From Amateur to Pro and the From Amateur to Pro podcast. So excited, I'm going to try and contain myself, to have with me today Santana Moss. You might know Santana as the all-pro wide receiver, legendary Washington Redskin, but I'm here to show you a different side of Santana. He is an analyst, an entrepreneur, a business person, a giver, a teacher, an amazing father and husband, a devoted member of the community, both here in Washington, D.C. and in Miami, his original hometown. And we're so thrilled to have you here, Santana, and to hear all of your amazing lessons about life and your journey to being a true professional, the epitome, I would say. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, Santana, can we start off by talking about early childhood when you knew football was your path and your passion in life?
Well, for most of the people who don't know Santana Moss or the Santana Moss, there's two of us. I always tell people that when guys come up to me and say, "Hey, are you the Santana Moss?" Well, I only know two of them, my son and me. But for those who don't know, I'm from Miami, Florida. I played college ball at the University of Miami. From there, I went on to be drafted by the New York Jets, where I spent 4 years there. And then I spent 10 years here in the DMV with the Washington Redskins. To throw everything in one nutshell, you can say I was a pretty good pro. I had fun at what I did and what I love, something that I knew from as a child, earlier as my 4, 5, or 6, I knew I was going to play this game. But from there, I never let football, basically, be what I was going to be. I never wanted football to be, okay, you know me because of football.
Right, to define you, to be your identity.
Exactly. Football was something that I was blessed to do, and I knew that if it was anything else that ever had to be done, that I can do that also, as long as I put my mind to it. So that's why now you find me out here, rubbing elbows and shoulders with some of these local analysts in the area, because now that door opened, and I was eager to have something more or something that was going to motivate me like the game that I once loved, and that was the next step for me.
Yeah, you got to be challenged.
No doubt.
You weren't going to just sit around on your laurels and do nothing.
I told you, I shared with you earlier,
right.
I'm a born hustler, and you got to define that word. Everyone think hustling mean that you're a street hustler or you some guy here in the, doing something illegal. No, I'm a hustler when it comes to anything that I want to do. I go and get it. I've never been a guy to sit down, and expect something to be given to me. I've just seen it from day one, from my mom and my dad, the way they worked, the way they showed us how life was. I never knew anything about what was going on in life, but I saw everything.
Right.
And when it came down to the time to know that you have to appreciate someone, I can say I really, truly appreciate them, because they instilled everything that I have in me. They was the reason why I was able to go out there and be the football player that I was, because I watched them work hard at their professions. And I say, hey, what the heck? If I want to do this, then I have to go get it. I have to work hard just as well as my mom and my dad did, so I can have what I want.
So I think I learned as much from the people who were doing it right as those who were doing it wrong. And that isn't necessarily it's not even a matter of like work ethic. Although people who were trying to cut corners, like I could see that in people. That was one of my things as a kid, as a teen, and then in my professional life. Were there moments in your early years of football playing when you knew, like, hey, I'm going to surpass this, right? Like, I'm going to surpass you and achieve kind of like the Miami situation where you walked on. Like, you could have gone to somewhere smaller, like you said.
Yeah.
You could have played it safe, but you were like, no, I'm going to go to one of the best football programs of all time and dominate. Like, Is that what your thought process was?
To be honest with you, no.
No.
My thought process wasn't that I can dominate. My thought process was I can play, regardless.
Okay.
I can play.
I
played this game. Just put me in. From day one, I've always played against the biggest, the toughest, the roughest. I was a guy that when I moved into a certain neighborhood and I had 19-year-olds knocking on my door like, we finna take your son out to play football. My dad's sitting there like, okay, where y'all playing ball at? My dad wasn't them dad. He didn't play no nonsense, and one thing he wasn't going to allow his kids to get, bullied,
wrapped up,
to put in a situation that they shouldn't be in. and he was going to make sure that we're not around the wrong people. My dad, had a family and brothers that he saw go down the wrong path, so he wanted to make sure that we never, when we left his house and left his safe haven, we didn't go somewhere and learn something that he didn't teach or that he didn't want put in us. So when those guys came around, and he knew most of those guys in the neighborhood probably weren't up to no good, but when they came around and say, "Hey man, your son, we want him to play some sandlot football with us," he had to ask all the questions and see what we was doing, who was going to be around. And when he decided to let me out the house and do that, I don't know if he knew that I had what it took, but I knew as a kid, just from how I was brought up before that time. I was brought up around a bunch of older cousins, and when you get in your head knocked in for so long and you trying to be them and you want to be them and you loving them so much and they not loving you, eventually you want to make somebody else feel that pain or feel that, you going to appreciate me because I have something to give. I have something that you're going to appreciate one day. Whether it's going to be this playing this sport, I'm going to be special. And I've always thought I was going to be special.
Right.
No doubt. So when it came time to picking schools, there was no doubt that I can play football. So I didn't label a school as if it was Florida State, Miami, or Florida. Them the schools that I grew up loving. I'm from Miami, so it was either Florida State, Florida, or Miami. And when someone tells you, well, you're not because of what you put up or what you didn't do, no, I can play football. You put me in a perfect situation or the right situation, I can go out there and do the same thing those guys doing. So when I decided to go to Miami, the University of Miami, because of track, that got me in the door. It was no question that I can go out there and play football with those guys because I've played football on every level with the best. Whether we was playing in the streets, in the grass, or organized, I played with the best. So I should be able to play with the best on this level also.
How many weeks did it take into the? Was it your freshman year? Or did you?
To be honest with you, it was funny because so before I got in the door, I had guys that was in my neighborhood. I had two guys there that knew me before. Those guys at the University of Miami know me. Even the coaches who scouted, even the the people who's supposed to be the experts that know what it takes to get in the doors. Oh, well, this guy's a blue chip or this guy's a 5-star. I love my story because all those guys really, doesn't matter to me. You can put anybody in that job because if you didn't see my potential, then you're not doing your job. We had one guy that saw my potential, and that was Coach Shannon, Randy Shannon. And Randy Shannon was a local guy, played at Northern High School, straight down the street from my high school, that played on championship teams at University of Miami, played in the NFL, coached in the NFL, and now he's coaching all throughout the, college, from he done been Gators, Miami, back, you name it, he'd been everywhere. He saw the potential, but he knew that they didn't have scholarships. And he saw the potential, but before he saw my potential, he heard of me from the guys that he coached. He had two linebackers, one by the name of Nate Webster that I played against and I grew up with, and then another one by the name of Rod Mack, who I was staying in the same neighborhood that he had just left from before he went to school. And Rod Mack shared with him, like, man, if there's any kid that you want to look at, it's a kid in my neighborhood that can play. I know he can play. He played with us. And he knew how those guys, how rough they was, how tough they was. This kid can play football.
Feisty.
So my high school wasn't a throwing high school, and I played receiver. Oh, man, that sucks, right? Yeah, I played wide receiver for a school that didn't throw the ball. And who would have thought that you can go to one of the better schools that win championships and not really be a guy that can come out of there and have the recognition to play what you want to play? So to be allowed to have that opportunity, that's all I needed was opportunity.
You just needed a chance to get in.
A chance. And so I did enough up to my senior year to now start getting eyebrows to be, rose. And when guys started saying, like, oh, man, who is this kid out here that's doing it on the main stage? So during the regular season, I wasn't even all county. I tell people this story time. I didn't make all county. I didn't make the all-day team. But I made third team all-state. So how are you able to do that, Santana? Like, it's unheard of. Well, my team was fortunate enough to go to the state playoffs. And the state playoffs. And
then you got seen by the people that knew the difference.
State playoffs is a time when it's almost like playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
The postseason is what makes you. You can do all this in the regular season. If you step up big in the postseason, that's how we know of Lynn Swann from the Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? That's how we know of stalwarts from the Super Bowl. They played in so many of them, they had to be counted on in the critical situations, the critical moments. So those critical moments brought the best out of me. When the pressure was hard and when the pressure was on, now I rose. Now you see that diamond in the rough. Now you see that rose grow out of that small crack. I was that guy that maybe we used all these other guys because we didn't need him during the regular season, but now the tough gets going and the going gets tough. We need 83.
And so you just knew, we talked about this earlier also. I can totally appreciate this. It doesn't matter how good things are, how bad things are. You know something's different about what's in you, like your soul, the core of you. Something's different. You're always going to be okay. You're always going to come out on top. And it's not like on top is better. It's just a different state of mind, I would say.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I feel that regardless of what the circumstances is, it's within you that's going to allow you to say, I'm either going to accept this for what it is, or I'm going to accept it and learn from it and move on. A lot of guys take those roadblocks and say, oh, man, I gave him my all, and I have no more. Right. And a lot of guys like myself take those roadblocks like, damn, another obstacle? Y'all ain't tired of giving me obstacles?
Right.
You haven't seen the 12 I just surpassed? I leaped over for 6 of them. The other 6, I went on the 3 of them and went around the other 3.
Right.
So, that was my story.
Right.
My story has always been,
when you fall, you pick yourself up. It's like the only option.
I'm like, this is another one, So that's why I say, like, I take pride in giving these, these stories because it's truly a testament of life.
Mm-hmm.
It beyond what I did, athletically, through my profession as being a pro baller. Life is really football. The things I went through in football, same things I go through in life, and that's why I say it's the one of the greatest metaphors of life. The sport I played, football, was one of the greatest metaphors of life because I experienced all the lows, and then at the same time I experienced highs.
Right.
And so then when I'm in life and I'm going through lows, I'm like, it's got to be a high somewhere.
Right. It's like
gotta be a silver lining. You know what I mean? So
real. Right.
Yeah. So that's why I accept it, because I know I'm not accepting failure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm accepting this lesson, and then now I'm going to move on.
Well, it's not failure; it's growth.
There you go. And I was just going to say that. I'm going to move on in progress from this.
I'm growing, and I don't even see that I'm not going to get back up again because there is no choice. I think what I've seen in my own experiences has been that it's almost like in the world that we live in now, it's not even about privilege or comfort or social media, like all the creature comforts. I don't even think that's the issue. I think people just say, to your point, if it gets hard, then sometimes then that's your stopping point. Versus you came here to do something. If you believe in God and you believe that a higher power is helping you and protecting you and keeping you, and you have faith in who you are and what made you, then you're always going to be fine. And you just have to accept that you need to learn and grow, and you need to become a better person, right? Like, you need to get somewhere. You need some kind of lesson, whether it's humility, whether it's determination, whether it's courage or whatever. I don't even know. Sometimes that just came to me to share, but I think you're
preaching. I feel you.
I think
it's amen.
I think people say it, man. I think that people are afraid to say that these days. And that's a shame. That's like why we're here. We need to tell this story and other people's stories, because you need to know that it's not easy to pick yourself up. But what's the alternative? Like, you want to just stay flat on your face and like crawl around from there? No, get up, right? Like, you'll be fine.
Absolutely.
So we talked about that, like those times. Do you think there's anything that you learned? So I've spent time in Miami. It's been a long time from when I was young in college. It's a fun place.
I can imagine.
It's a really great time. And it's like, I was like wondering if I was going to share this, but I shared with you that I'm pregnant. And last night I really wanted McDonald's French fries, right? And my husband's,
French fries.
Fair enough. I have my son's favorite food is French fries because
you probably ate it when you was pregnant.
A ton of French fries when I was pregnant with him.
I got a couple of kids that like bacon, and I wonder why.
Oh my God!
Mom ate a lot of bacon.
French
when
fries
she was
were
pregnant.
like his first. I think it might have been his maybe first, second word. Anyway, I wanted McDonald's French fries. I know that that's going to feel so good in the moment, and they're going to taste delicious with my honey mustard sauce. It's going to be amazing. but I'm a green juice and like clean eating girl at heart. So I can have my French fries, but I got to be on point today. Like, I don't know if my kid's going to be up all night, which he was for not all night, but like he had a couple hours in the middle of the night. Like, I got to be prepared for whatever's coming at me. But it's that temptation when you know what it takes for you to perform.
Yes.
And it's easy to see, again, let's talk about like the 99 to 1%. 99% of people will just go out and have fun and make up for it somehow in the morning. Maybe they don't care if they don't do their best at practice. But I can imagine that had to have been a formative time, and college in general, from what I witnessed. Like, I have friends from college who went on to play in the pros. Eric Barton, did you play with him?
Yeah, I played with Eric. Oh, you know Eric?
Yeah, I went.
Wow.
I was like, I need to find him and
I just saw
connect
Eric.
with him.
He messaged me on Instagram, and I hadn't seen him in so long since I left.
I gotta
the
get in
Jets.
touch with him.
I got.
I lived in New York when he would come, and I worked at a bar, and he would bring the guys in and come after games. So anyway,
That's
but
crazy.
he was a guy who. He knew what he wanted.
He went hard too.
He worked hard. He had his fun, but not often, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you probably didn't. Like, it was probably just like, to be out in the mix. But he knew what he was going to do and like what his path was. So how do you interact, and like, what do you see at that point in time that says, okay, they can all do this, but I'm from here. I know this, and I know the path that's going to lead me away from my dream.
Well, to be honest with you, great question. I mean, absolutely. It's about sacrifices. And when you ask me that question, I'm sitting here, I'm almost so antsy because I want to just like,
because you really want some French fries.
Yeah, the fries, nah. No, but honestly,
totally
like,
joking.
It's really, truly a sacrifice. And you got to understand, I always had this vision of me playing college football, pro football. To share with you outside. I'm fortunate that all that worked out because I had no other clue of what was going to be the outcome of Santana Moss. But from day one, I'm going to play football. This is what I'm going to do. And I remember the times when I was being in high school and the things weren't going well, and I'm like, well, mama, I ain't doing enough, so I already know we ain't got no money. So I don't know what to tell you, know? So, like, I remember those years when I'm sitting here thinking about, damn, I mean,
what's going to happen over
I ain't
here?
putting no numbers up, so
ain't
no scholarships going to be coming this way. And I know we ain't got no money to pay for no school, so obviously I'm going to have to get a job or do something.
Right.
I remember those times. So when all that stuff came through and I was able to make it, that's just the moment that you go through sometimes. Sometimes you always, like you said, those are times when you can say, should I quit now?
Mm-hmm.
Something just giving you that right. Hey, it's okay to quit.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
All right. We're going to pat you in the back. We're going to
like
feel sorry for you. That
here.
voice. It's always two of them. And I'm a Gemini, so I believe in them both because I have one over here.
My son's a Gemini.
I can say my left side is he's the rude boy, and my right side, he stay holy. He don't do it, Tanner. But really, honestly, so in college, being a true freshman, I'm a walk-on right now. So I'm, every day was a test to me. Every day was a test. Every day was almost like, prove your point, Santana. Go out here and show these guys that it's no guy that came in here through scholarship that's better than you.
Right.
It's no guy, I had guys, Reggie Wayne, one of my
It's like a blessing that happened because you worked harder.
It's truly a blessing. Reggie Wayne's my sweet mate, and he was one of my better friends while I was in college, and still to this day. We was able to come in together, leave together, be two of the most dominant receivers, in our era. And through that whole, thing of the receivers, we stand tall when it comes to what we did while we was there. Reggie Wayne told me to my face, Tanner, when they said, stand up and say who you are, I looked at you as a track guy. Oh, I ain't worried about him.
Right.
He say, before I blink my eye, I'm like, you the guy I got to worry about.
Right.
And it meant so much to hear that from him because I went in those doors like, I'm going to let all these guys know from the get-go what's up. And from day one of the first couple of practices we ran through as freshmen, I couldn't wait till the older guys get out there because I wanted them. I wanted everybody who thought they was better or thought they can handle me or whatever they had. I wanted them. Now, I wasn't cocky at all. I was always the humble guy that I've been to this day, and I'm not calling myself humble, but that's what's been given to me. But I was always sure.
It is what it is. I mean,
it is what
it's
it
a good
is.
thing.
I was always sure about what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So to know that I had a chance to go out there and perform every day in front of these coaches, in front of these players, my peers, and to show up a guy and what I know I can do, and to know that there's a couple of guys in here that already know this.
Right.
So I'm going to prove everything they saying right is right.
Right.
And to do that, and also know that I don't really have to play this year. I'm a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
They already know I'm walking on, so I can sit down and sit back and probably have some of them McDonald's fries, you say, and live that freshman life. I didn't want that. Yeah. I wanted to prove a point.
Because you're there. It's
and
like,
I'm there.
I'm here, life is short, I'm going to make the most of it.
And in order to prove that point, I sacrificed a lot. Being a freshman, I remember those first 4 weeks, 3 weeks, you can say, but it was probably 4 weeks. Those first 4 weeks of school, every time you heard college night, hey, college night, we got a party at this frat house, that frat house, this club. I'm gonna get some of that.
Right.
I want some of that. Thursday night, it's college night, I'm there.
Right.
$2 drinks, yes, I'm there. And then I'm saying to myself, I ain't got to play Saturday.
Right.
I done gave it my all through the week, and I'm going to practice hard. And even though I had all that Thursday night, I'm going to get up and go to school Friday and still be in practice.
Where most people were not in school on Friday,
no.
by the way.
But I also remember that through all those times, I remember how I felt the next day. I remember saying, like, if I had to play Saturday, I wouldn't be worth nothing.
I'd be toast.
And so.
Be a pancake, actually.
When it came time for me to honestly have to play, I remember having fun that Thursday, and I'm saying, hey, it's game 4 of the season. I'm already finna be a red shirt. Most of the guys say, they're gonna dress you for 4 weeks. In my case, I dressed for 4 weeks and couldn't take a helmet out. This 4th week, I told myself, I'm taking my helmet on the field. I'm tired of getting killed by these student bodies every time we go away, and they throwing ice at me, and they saying Moss sucks, and I'm tired of it. I'm a freshman. I don't know how to act when it comes to this because I want to fight everybody in the student body.
Yeah.
I had an incident in Baylor where the coach told me, what you going to do, fight them all? Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to have to whoop me because I'm just that fed up with them throwing ice and everything else and calling me out my name. So I didn't know. I was too young to even know. But this 4th game, I said, hey, I'm taking my helmet on the field. Screw the coaches, screw whoever's going to see it. I know I'm not playing, so I'm just taking my helmet just so I can put it on and not have to worry about the people behind me. I took my helmet on the field, and I went through warm-ups. I'm like, man, I had a good time this week. Hey, this is the life of a true freshman or a freshman that's going to be having this role all year long. I get to practice. I get to show out in practice, and I get to come and sit down and watch the other fellas go out here and work. Well, it was a 3rd down and long, and they threw me in the game. And I looked at the guy like, no, I'm supposed to be red shirt and shit. I almost want to say timeout. No. Is this you wrong. No, Tanner, I got the call, get in. My helmet only supposed to be on the field. So if I didn't have a helmet, would you be throwing me in the game right now? And I remember going out there, I made a play, and I came back it was almost to me like a slap in the face. Welcome.
Right.
Like that was my welcome. That was like that, welcome to college football. And I remember
it's a good thing you didn't know. You would have been so scared.
You're right. And I was glad to be introduced that way. But at the same time, I prepared.
Yeah.
I practiced harder than anybody else. I went out there and did all the things I was supposed to do. But I do remember after that game, I told myself I will not participate in another college night on a Thursday night because I want success. I don't want to just come out here and be okay. I want to be dominant. And that was the day I told myself as a freshman that I'm not going to partake in the parties. Now, guess what? I'm going to be at parties, but after I handle my job. And I feel like my job was every Saturday. So I made sure that I was alert, I was sharp, and I was, I had prepared enough. So come Saturday, whether I show up or show out or whether I don't, I still will have that much confidence knowing that I did enough to be ready for that moment and that I didn't hang out and
you're not
anything.
Jeopardizing anything for the week to come.
Exactly.
I think that's huge. So then you go to New York. Did you have to initiate that, or did that just kind of fall into place?
In New York, man, it's funny.
Well, you had really you did dominate for those 4 years in Miami.
Yeah, it's crazy because here I am. I'm leaving a situation where I felt like every situation until the New York situation, I had to prove myself. Now here I am. I've earned the right to be a first-round pick. The New York Jets, #1 draft pick that year. At number 16, I was the first-round pick at 16 for the New York Jets. They traded up to get me.
That's awesome.
Hey, I went through the storm. I just witnessed
That was a high.
all you can go through, all the disbelief, all the criticisms, all
Right.
the ups and downs, even through college, the ups and downs I went through. Went through so many of them.
You know the Nelson Mandela quote when he talks about like he gets to the top of the mountain, I'll send it to you. And he can't stay there too long because he knows how far he came.
Yeah.
He has to keep going,
Has
right?
to keep going, yeah.
So anyway, but you can appreciate the climb, right?
And so, look, I appreciate the climb so much.
You appreciate it, you celebrate, but you got to keep
I
going.
appreciate it so much. I had everything in mind that I was going to do to maintain where I have come for so far, but you forget because now you feel like you didn't have to experience the struggle no more. You here, I arrived. You know, now you don't know, like, all my life has been a struggle. All my life has been a no. All my life has been a you can't. Now I'm finally, you're number one. You're our guy. And then
you have that, like, recognition, the validation, rather.
The validation is there. The validation is like, you know what? This is our guy. When you walk in that locker room, everyone look at you as, you're going to get the guys with the smirks, and you're going to get the guy with the, they're going to recognize you as
like,
you're our guy.
You're here.
You're here to dominate for it.
Right.
We watched you in college.
Come over with us.
We want to see that. And then you have another setback. You have a setback unlike any of them that you have ever experienced. And I'm hurt. I'm hurt before the season even starts.
Oh,
so I'm sitting here like, man, I've come so far, finally chosen to be recognized for all my hard work. And now I have this letdown that now I hurt my knee. And I can't be Santana Moss that you drafted, the punt returner / wide receiver. And to have that happen, it was almost like a punch in the face. But it was needed. It was needed because I think.
Because you would have gotten too close to the sun, you think?
Don't really think that because I know I just don't have a mind to really allow myself to go that high and feel proud of myself that way. I've always stayed neutral. You know, it's always been in the middle with me. I've always been that guy like, I understand I can be here. I understand my game might be here, but I'm going to come right here. I feel comfortable here. You can pat me up here. You can reach for me, but I'm right here. Right. I'm not that far from you. So to have that letdown, that setback, and now people looking at me as if I was that guy all over
Damaged
again
goods.
at Miami, like, you got to prove to me. Prove to me that, you know, you're just not this regular walk-on dude. So to have that happen to me in New York, to start the way I started in New York, it wasn't, I can't say I would wish that on anyone else because here I am the first time away from home. You gotta understand, I grew up in Miami.
You're in New York.
Played in Miami. Now I'm in one of the city where
brutal.
They give 2 flying Fs about you.
Yeah,
you
they
hear
do
me?
not care.
And it's cold and it's different. Everything is different. Now I gotta adapt to playing in this weather with a messed up knee. You know, it was so much can go wrong that went wrong. And
you find out who your real friends are pretty quickly too.
You know, not even that. You just find out what they want. I found out immediately that the league was about what can you do for me.
Right.
Not what you done to get here. What can you do for me now? Because
it's different. It's not like, oh, we're going to help bring out your potential. It's like, no, you're here to do a job.
We drafted you in the spot we drafted you in because you was considered the best.
Right.
Or one of the best. And you can't do that right now. So I experienced some rough times early. And do I appreciate it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate to see those coaches not talk to me. I appreciate to see that special team coach who I love
It's
dearly.
like we're talking about, like you go from like everything to nothing in the blink of an eye.
I appreciate it all because it made me realize, Tanner, you're no different from that guy that they told no. You're no different from that guy that grew up in a house with all those kids that was knocking you around. You're no different from that kid at high school that the coach took you out the game to throw the ball to you your first year starting. You're no different from the guy that that Army recruit said that you don't have what it takes to play college football. You need to come join the Army. So it's brought all that back to surface and allowed me to know that, you know what, this is your start over. This is now, we gave you. You work for all this. But it's no time to be all big, fat, and happy about what you did. You still have room to grow. You still have room. You have a lot more life to live, and you have a lot more room. Now you're in a whole nother league.
You think you're ready, but not quite yet.
Yeah. So that was a great point in my life where I felt that I sat down and I revamped. I actually sat down and really thought everything out and said, you know what do I want to be known for on this level? I've seen so many guys come in these doors and leave. So many guys that played on the collegiate level at a high, that play at the top peak of, any collegiate that ever stepped into the doors of whatever college he went to, it's a lot of guys. You can name them. I was fans of them. I watched them, and then I heard
and
the
then
NFL,
you forget about them.
and you haven't heard nothing from them.
Right.
I didn't want to be them. So I sat down and took my, my licks and wounds the way they came, and I say, Tanner, when you get out of this brace, you got to rebuild yourself. You got to redo everything you did to get here and have that hunger again. I was always hungry, but I feel that you can forget about the hunger once you start getting fat. And when I say getting fat, I mean now I got the money. I can eat what I want. I can buy what I want. I can have what I want. You forget about what it took to have all that.
Right.
And I'm not saying I ever did. I think you do get, you get lost in what's going on around you because it's so fast.
It's so fast. It's so
so
easy.
Fast.
It happens
it's so easy
fast.
to say, hey, what you talking about? I don't
or to get
remember
caught
that.
up in the wrong things.
Yeah.
That's what I
to
think
be
a
honest
lot
with
of
you, I
people
don't even
do.
feel like it was at a time where I got caught up. But I do feel that in life, things happen for a reason. Everything happened for a reason. I think that was a great point to learn. That was a great moment for me to sit down and just, resurrect everything and say, hey, if you really want this, if you don't want to be those guys that walked in these doors and was forgotten after a year of being drafted, first round, then you're going to go and do what you did to get here. And that's what I did.
It happened for you, not to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So was there anything, so then you had to that was your rebuilding period. Did you decide at that point, like even further seeing, because now you're there, you're with the best, whether it's the leaders of the organization, from the business perspective, from the trainers, your colleagues, you see what egos are like and the people who kind of get it and the people who don't. What did you take away from that time other than your own self wherewithal?
Well, you know what I took away from it? That can't worry about what somebody else think about you. I was in a city where, man, like, if you make it in New York, they never lie. If you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
It's so true. My dad told me that. He's like, here's $100.
Oh, my God. Like,
go figure it out.
I wanted to make sure that every fan in New York appreciated them 83. That was my goal. I didn't know how soon it was going to happen, dealing with the circumstance of me being injured my rookie season and not giving them what they wanted to see. Even when I came back from that injury, I remember those last 6 weeks. It was hell.
Did they put you in at the end?
They threw me in. They're like, hey, now show us your stuff.
Right.
Didn't go through the proper, procedures of getting me back well.
Bruh,
just like,
God
hey, that
bless.
knee is healthy enough. Get out there.
Right.
And I remember blowing my quad in the next week. And I'm like, here I go from a fucking knee injury to now a blown quad.
And they'll just shoot you up when you get off the field
everything that
anyway.
you need to be you is trying to be taken away from you.
Right.
Santana. Like, honestly, I remember sitting down and I remember bawling. Just, what now? Why me? And at the time,
that hurts, by the way.
no, it does. It does. At the time, like I said, we talked about this. You either feel sorry for yourself, you either baby yourself, you either say, well, I made it. It's it, or you say no.
Which, by the way, if you decide, if that's the path you're going to take, that's the way you're going to feel for the rest of your life.
No doubt.
Until you decide to take control of your life. You're going to feel like you're justified to be like, oh, woe is me, I'm a victim, blah, blah, blah. Because you are. Like, you're totally giving into it. So
no doubt. And so just to not have that same feeling and the vibes that I was getting for those weeks that I was down because I couldn't do anything, I played on a pull quad. I literally just went in there and said, Coach, trainer, do what you got to do to get me out there.
Right.
I'm not going to be me. I'm not going to be me for the rest of this year anyway.
Right.
So let me just finish this season off the best way I can.
Right.
Pull quad or not. And it honestly showed me that I can play through the extremes of pain.
Yeah.
Like I showed myself and proved to myself that, look, you just put mind over matter. You really put your mind over what really mattered. And I feel like I could have hurt something more. I could have did something to the point where I probably would have not been able to play the next year. But I was so determined to want these coaches and these players to accept me that I didn't want to be looked at.
There's no alternative.
I didn't want to be looked at as that guy that he's always hurt.
Right.
Or he just can't get right.
Right.
Or like I shared with so many folks, Mo Lewis used to always say, so they say. I love Mo Lewis for that. He don't even know how much I appreciate him for saying that to me. Mo Lewis is the reason why Tom Brady is who he is right now. He knocked out Drew Bledsoe my rookie year. And to this day, I looked at Mo Lewis, and beyond for what he done, because he was one of the greatest linebackers at that time, him and Marvin Jones. Mo Lewis, the first time I met him, I didn't know if he liked me or not, but he would always say, well, so they say. So they say. So they say you fast. I ain't seen it.
Right.
So they say you good. I ain't seen it. And I appreciate guys like Mo Lewis because he didn't do nothing but stir up all that was in me.
And, oh, by the way, he's not just going to accept you because somebody said you're this or that. Yeah. He's going to be real with you. He
stirred it all up. I mean, whatever I had in that pot that was cooking, he stirred it up. He stirred it.
God bless you, Mo Lewis.
He stirred it.
Wherever you are.
He stirred it. And, I mean, I used to sit there and smile when he said it, but literally I was fuming at him. I'm like, boy, if he just knew that if he got any closer, he would catch one from me because that's just how I felt.
It's like I told Hannah before we came in. I was on a call last week, and I told her, I'm like, look, I want to punch you in the face or punch the wall, like one of the two. And I'm just going to tell you that. That's how I feel with what you're saying to me. But so it's for my own good that you're telling me that. Doubt. So I'll let myself
I don't think he knew he was doing that.
Up.
I don't think he knew he was doing that. But he was everything to what I did in New York because after that season ended, I was so happy to get through that. I went and did another surgery on that knee that I did surgery on before. And this time it was to clean up whatever didn't get.
Clean all the junk out.
Yeah, all the junk out. And here I am like, man, I'm 2 surgeries. I'm 1 year in, and I'm 2 surgeries. And I remember seeing the doctor that day and he telling me, oh, you should have listened to us. We was going to shave and carve you out. And I'm like, no, because – you know, if you shave and carve me out as a young 21-year-old, 22-year-old, I got 4 years left in this league. You know what I mean? I got, if that, 4 years left.
You're putting an expiration date on me, and you're not going to do that.
And what I need the most is these knees. Right. The way I run and the way I do what I do, you know, in my game, I need my knees the most. So, hey, I'm not tripping on what you saying to me. Do your job and get me up out of here so I can go and rebuild this thing. And I remember leaving out of there, you know, and I didn't say that to him, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking the whole time, respect him because, you know, I don't want to get him. I feel like I'm in hot water with this team.
He is taking you under the knife. So.
I'm in hot water with this team already. Right. They looking at me like, oh, did we pick the right guy? You know, I can sense that. Did we pick the right guy? And I remember going back home and I went to University of Miami and I looked at Andrew Swayze and I'm like, it's time to go to work. I remember it was guys coming into the league. They was in there working out with him, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not satisfied.
I need you.
I gotta do this all over again. And I can tell you, man, it was like night and day. It was like night and day. And you still go through ups and downs. Don't get me wrong. Don't think it was just that was the end of me having, you know, letdowns in New York. No, you went through more, but you knew what it took to get yourself back.
Right.
So you was able to go through those new obstacles, like, okay, if I got to do this all over again, I can do it. I showed myself I can do that.
So you think this is, you know, I told you a little bit before that this is all about untapping what you have within you to be the best version of you, no matter what happens. Yeah. Like obstacles, adversities, that shouldn't matter. That's noise, right?
Yes.
You just always want to be surfacing, shining, whatever you got to do to be your best. It's going to get messy in the process. I think that's what my point is and my desire in doing this show. What is it about you and other people, other high performers, beyond just the desire and the willingness to work hard? Is there anything else that you think is the difference between, it's not even the 1%. Like at this point, it's the 0.001%, because things are always going to come at you. Like if you think that there's not going to be another speed bump, hurdle, roadblock, it's always going to come. It's how you interpret it and what your perception is of that. So what else was it for you? And it doesn't have to be just what you learned that you saw in other people. And it could have been like we talked about earlier, like the right way to do it and maybe like not the best way.
Well, just to be honest with you, I've seen plenty of guys have difficult roads. And those guys couldn't stand strong. For some reason, they just quit. Some reason. So I truly believe it's what your makeup is. You can go through a hard life and still don't have that makeup to surpass anything that comes at you hard. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen guys that probably grew up rougher than me, rougher than me, and through harder circumstances. And still, when that roadblock came, oh man, I heard the excuses. I was the guy that they leaned on. I was always a shoulder. Beyond me playing ball, the person I am now, I've always been a guy someone can
You're
lean
a giver.
on. I'm a giver, and that's just who I am. My dad hated. He hated. Oh, stop giving him money. Stop doing that. Stop doing it. They didn't earn that. They don't need that.
Right.
You deserve that. Yours. You don't need to give it. It's just me, man.
You cannot be that.
Satisfied with who I am,
right.
and I'm satisfied with that. I know when to stop. Yes, I do. I know who I shall. Yes, I do. But I'm going to give. That's just me. That's my makeup. That's in my DNA. Hey, at the end of the day, if it's my last and I feel like you deserve it, you can have it.
Yeah.
I could get it again.
Right.
Because I know who I am.
I'll figure it out. Right.
I'm going to get it again. So I've saw guys that had.
And that's why you made it 14 seasons.
Yeah, no doubt. It was plenty of times when people were saying, oh, maybe you should go. Maybe he should quit. Maybe it's a wrap. No.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when someone tried to tell you that. No. Maybe it's your time to go.
Nah. You got to. I used to tell myself.
I tell you when it's time.
I used to tell myself, they going to have to push me out of this league in a damn wheelchair. No, honestly. I used to say that, and I didn't want to say that, but I'm like, if I can't run no more, I ain't never stop playing.
Right.
I'm never going to stop playing this game. And I'm glad that things happened the way they happened for me to stop, because I knew I probably would never stop. Mm-hmm. I knew if I can beat you, I'm going to keep playing.
So were there any highlights for you once you came down to the Redskins? Highlights, lowlights?
All of them. I experienced everything that I experienced as
Total
a Jet.
range.
I experienced
just
it as a
longer
Redskin.
period of time.
Yeah, it's just different. It was different obstacles. It was different roads. It was different highs. The highs was the ultimate highs.
Mm-hmm.
The highs I experienced here in the DMV. That's why I'm still here in the DMV. I mean, I could never get over
You're
it.
Home.
They won't let me get over it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go into a store without someone telling me something I did my first year. And to me, I'm sitting like, bro, you haven't seen the other 9 seasons, what I've done? You have to tell me that I did something better than that.
That's the only thing you saw, really?
And they like, no, I do. You got Slim. They got all different kind of quotes and names they call you here. Youngs and Slims. And you just got to understand something. Beyond the Super Bowls, it was beating Cowboys on their ceremony night. And so I'm like, well, I'm glad to be that guy that we talk about on that night. But oh man, the road don't get any smoother. It gets rougher, But like I say, when you experience so much before New York, through the path of you just getting to New York, you're able to accept it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to.
You're ready for it.
And not even being ready, you able to know that, hey, I'm going to ride this wave as long as it allow me to stay up. But I know when watching any surfing movie, because I never saw it live, they fall some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get into that water. You're not going to just land on the sand and walk off and get your board and keep it moving.
You're gonna get your ass ripped up by the coral reef.
You're going to hit that water.
Yeah.
So I rode it until it gave me that splash.
Yep.
And when you get that splash, it's not necessarily saying you didn't do your job. You just got to be woken up again.
Yep.
And that's what I experienced here as a Redskin. We had some highs. We had a high that it couldn't be stopped unless you just changed everything that was going on. And we did that. Mm-hmm. We did just that. We changed everything that you can change to stop my high. And it wasn't like I just fell off. No, it was like, we're going to change the coaches, we're going to change the quarterback, we're going to change the team.
Everything right in the middle.
And then now, Tana, we need you still to perform. And so, like I said, I experienced it all. And like I said, from day one, you have to revamp yourself. You have to go in there and say, okay, whatever I did to get here, let's do it again. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've experienced. That's why I knew that.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. I've always believed in it's here. Mm-hmm. And it's here. If these things on the same accord, then you can have what you want. And I feel like I never lost that. I never lost that tempo I feel in my heart, in my chest, and I never lost that train of thought. I never lost that hunger or that desire to want more, to say that I'm satisfied. I still remember right now, I wake up out of my sleep thinking that I played in the game the night before, because I remember the feeling of playing on Sunday and Monday, waking up Monday like, oh man, don't be satisfied. That's what I used to tell myself on the field. Catch a 30-yard catch. Everybody going wild, spin that ball. Don't be satisfied, Tanner. You got more. You got more. You got more.
You got to do it again.
More. Go to the sideline. Yeah. We on break, or we off the field. We scored or whatever. We 3 and out. Don't be satisfied. It's more from you. You could do something better. I've repeated that to myself time and time again as a player. Here I am not playing the game, waking up in cold sweats, saying that to myself. You got more.
Is that why you went to business school?
You got more. Yes, because I had more. Yeah. I needed a push. And it's crazy. It's odd because I share with people all the time that I'm a person that go off of vibes. I'm a person that believe in the man. It's a higher power. And I'm a person that believe in prayer. I believe in all that. I literally did that throughout my life. When I was 6, I was praying for more, for better. When I was 10, I was praying that I can, be good or play this game. I never played it. I ain't playing until I was 12.
Right.
When I was 12 and I started playing, I was praying that, I can be as good as the next guy on my team. And it's so much that went into prayer, and it's not just through my sports, everything. I pray that my mama will be able to keep her job and keep doing what she's doing for us, because I appreciate her hard work. I pray that, I pray so much, so I believe from day one.
And you kept it up.
Kept it up. I never stopped. I tell my kids to this day, every night I do the same thing. I do push-ups, sit-ups, and I pray.
I love that.
If I forget, I do it.
I love you even more,
If I
Santana
forget,
Moss.
I would wake up out my sleep and I would pray because I forgot. Just me. I'm, I believe in repetition. Everything is about reps. So when I sit up here and talk to you in this mic, I know I'm better than what I was a few months ago or a couple of years ago. It's repetition. Everything you do, it's all about consistency. If you're consistent with something, you're going to consistently fail at it if you're not doing it the right way, or get better. And even if you're failing every time you try it, eventually you're going to get better and you're going to pass and you're going to surpass what you did. So I believe in that. So when it came to points in my life that I felt that I needed to lean on that, I did it all the time because I believed in it.
You told me something, we were chatting earlier, that when someone says something to your comments on a path or something you're working on, whether it was back in the day or, now and then, or recent events, you don't even take it in. It's like, it truly is noise that you tune it out. Like something in you allows you to tune it out. My Achilles heel at times is that I'm like, well, maybe I should listen to that person. I didn't used to be like this, by the way. Somewhere along the line, I think as an entrepreneur, it came to me to doubt my own instinct, right? And I think that's what a lot of people do. They know what they need to do, but someone makes a comment here, whether it's someone they love and respect or a stranger or someone with some level, modicum of respect or success, and they take it in, and then it diverts them off path. They lose focus. Maybe it's the little negative voice on this shoulder. Anything intentional aside from the discipline and the prayer, because I think that really does help, actually. Anything that anyone taught you along the way or that you picked up on other people, or is that just something that's part of who you are, that's like your gift to all of us?
It's a gift.
It's your gift.
It's a gift.
That's what I thought.
I truly believe it's a gift because
I think it's a huge gift.
Yeah.
But it's also a gift for someone to have been successful by saying, I don't even register it. I don't even process it.
No, I have.
It's like not allowed in me.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I have younger siblings, and I believe it's a gift because I feel like I was the chosen one.
Right.
I have older siblings also, but they wasn't in my household. They wasn't in the house that I grew up in. And
there's a responsibility that comes with that.
So to always be the guy that everyone had to lean on in the house, I was the chosen one. I'm number one. My mom first son. My dad had other kids, but I'm my mom first. I'm my dad's household, the woman he married. I'm the first. I was born on June 1st. I was born on the 6th month. So much comes in play and all that stuff.
Right.
That number 6 stands out. I wore number 6 in college. Number 1, it's so much comes in play. So I use all that stuff. I swear, people ask me questions about it all the time. I wore 83 in high school. Oh man, how did you get 89? 83 and 6 is 89. I put all that into play. Everything that's given, everything that's presented to me in life, I've used it to do what I do, to know that it was a purpose. It was a reason that it was given to me that way. So to hear people tell you that, hey man, Oh man, I like your spirit, young man. I like your spirit, young blood. I think you have what it takes, man. But you know, guys your size don't make it. You know, man, you keep grinding though, man. I like seeing what you're doing out there, man. You got heart, but man, you know, past this level, that's about the farthest you're gonna go.
Mm.
I literally just sat there and listened to you talk and didn't comprehend nothing you was talking about. It's not conscious. I don't look.
That's amazing. And something we all need to hear.
Yeah.
I want you to hear that again.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the bullshit.
Yeah.
Just don't listen
Straight
to
up
it.
BS. Straight up BS. I mean, and to this day, I sit here and I hear it over. I hear it again. And I'm sitting here like, man, you know how many times I heard you can't, you won't, you don't.
Right.
You wouldn't. And then you know how many times I've heard, and look, I have something in the back of my head to this day, it rings. Volumes in my head. I remember at I was running track. I was the first in my household, before my brothers and them started. I started way later than them, but being that I was the oldest in the household and I was doing it at the time I was doing it, they was coming up right behind me. So they started a lot earlier. And I remember my baby brother, and not the one that's under me who made it to the NFL also, the one younger than us. I remember the coaches saying, that's the one. It's 3 of us. And I've been showing them the ropes. And you hear a coach say, that's the one. I mean, literally said that to us.
Like where you can all hear it.
No, it's not like he was hiding it or trying to be.
Yeah.
But that's the one going to make it right there. You know, it's always a brother that's going to make it. He going to be the one that's going to make it. So you just sit there and told me and my other brother to our face, Santana, you're not going to make it. Sonoras, you're not going to make it. But this is the one that's going to make it.
If anyone's a teacher, by the way, or any influential person on children, your words have power. You should watch what you say.
Look, at the end of the day, I went to school for education. That was my first degree. I got it in liberal arts, but went to school to be a teacher. Was I going to teach? Probably not. But what I do now, I feel like I teach a lot.
Well, you're teaching now.
I know everything I do with the kids and the mentoring and everything is teaching. That's a form of teaching. To hear a coach say that, like you just did what Mo Lewis did down the road.
You
in my
stirred
path.
it
You
up.
stirred it up.
You better watch out.
You stirred it up. So that day that he said that, I went into the lab. And I was already in the lab. I was already working on what I was trying to be or who I was going to be. But I just looked at my brother and I said, I'm going to continue to give him the game that made him the chosen one in that coach's eyes. But you know what you just did for me and the other one? You just made what we've been doing nothing.
Right.
In your eyes. To me, everything you've seen me do is nothing to you because you just said he's the one. And I know I've won a lot of track meets. I know I've won a lot of football games for the same coach. And you just sat there in front of my face and told me that my baby brother is going to be the chosen one. He's the one that's going to make it. And to be honest with you, I don't think this never played a factor in how the outcome came. But me and my middle brother,
you worked harder.
We made it.
Yeah, you made it.
Don't get me wrong. My baby brother still made it.
Yeah,
He's still successful.
Yeah.
He's still a hustler. He still has everything that we had. He had a lot of different obstacles that we didn't have. But, he made the college. He got his degree. That's all
He's on his own path anyway.
Yeah, but to be talking about what that coach is talking about, football-wise, he said he was going to be the guy that we see and hear about. And I'm sitting here to this day when I see that coach. It's no wonder we don't have a relationship.
Right.
Because you never believed in me. You never believed in that everything I've done for you.
You still see that guy?
Yeah, I see him.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, I don't say nothing to him, but it's because of him. It's not because of me.
Yeah.
It's because of him.
Well, you be polite.
Because I'm still a guy that I would still bend over backwards for anybody that once gave me any kind of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But he cut that and he nipped that in the bud a long time ago because he wanted more. He was one of those coaches that you say that they feel like you deserve that he deserves more because of who you became.
Right.
And chip.
That's called a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, it's funny because you have the coaches and the people in your life that really teach you that everything that you learned because you went out there, regardless of what we taught you, regardless of what we put you through, you had to go do it.
Right.
So you don't owe anyone nothing.
Yep.
And I've had a coach that I think of like a father figure in my life that told me that. I remember he reiterated that to me every time I saw him. Tanner, you don't owe nobody nothing. And I'm probably thinking he probably said that to me so much because he probably heard how much I was always giving to this person and that person and this club and that club. I never just said, okay, I grew up in this area, I'm going to give to this area. No, I gave to the areas that I didn't grow up in. I gave to people that I didn't know.
Well, you gave when you saw a need.
I just felt like it was needed. I feel like it wasn't given to you, it was given to the people that you're supporting.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't support them the way that you want to, well, I'm going to support you to support them. So, and so I remember hearing all that. And And that's why I say I laugh at some of those things today, because you have to be very conscious of what you say to folks, you know. And I don't think that was a moment that he thought about that. I think that was a moment that he just was riding on the high of what he saw. And at the time, let's be realistic. If I'm in a house, I got two brothers that's in front of me, and they bad. When I say bad, they are dominant at everything they do. You don't think as the baby brother I'm going to be ahead of these guys that's my age? Be realistic.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to learn from these guys.
Right.
I'm going to pick up everything that they know to make myself, if I'm 8, 7, whatever. At the time, my brother was probably 8 years old. My youngest brother was probably 8 years old when I heard that. Of course he's the baddest 8-year-old out here. Because all he has to do.
Who do you think taught him how to be the baddest 8-year-old out here? Hello.
Look, at the end of the day, like, exactly.
Right.
Who you think he has to learn from?
Yeah, but this is where you prove me again. It's a wisdom beyond your years when you're that young and you have that wherewithal.
Yeah, and that's what I say. You know, it's a gift.
Yeah, it's
a gift because you're thinking like
it's a responsibility.
Yeah, and then like I said, you know, you feel like, hey, I'm that guy.
Yeah,
I'm that guy. It's not because I'm that guy. I'm that guy because I've always been that guy. I was number one.
And I'm not going to take these gifts and not use them. I'm going to be an instrument, and that's that. And that's what you've done in your whole life. Yeah. And that's really remarkable. And I can tell you that. You don't have to acknowledge it, but I'm going to tell you that it is. And
I'd rather hear from you anyway.
Appreciate having you here. And I want to know now who or what is inspiring you now, other than the voice, this like fire that burns within you. That
I think the people that walk this earth that share the same blood as me inspire me the most. You know, we have a responsibility. Excuse me. We have a responsibility to take care our household. Mm-hmm. You know, our loved ones. Mm-hmm. Anybody. I don't care who you think you are, or who you know you are. Your responsibility is to take care of yours. Yep. And when you put kids on this, and you bring kids into this world, that's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. That's your responsibility to leave your footprint, your stamp of this is who my dad was. This is why I'm going to be who I'm going to be, because this is who my dad was. So the drive, the want to, the why, the reason why I do what I do, because if I don't tell them this is what we got to do, I'm showing them. Right. I've always been a guy to lead by example. Mm-hmm. I've never been a rah-rah guy. I see that in my household. Now I do fuss and cuss, and yes, it's in me because I grew up in one of them households where I heard a lot of fussing and cussing. So, you know, they might not want to say it, but they know it. I talk about it a lot. Yeah, I do that. I share so much with people when I'm talking on air and on TV. My vocabulary but this big because I know MF more than I know anything else. You know, I was an MF all my life. You know, so hey, that's what I know. You know, right. But I'm not. And it works. I'm not ashamed of that because I feel like it works. It's okay. When I say MF, their mom say, "Don't say that to them." I was a MF. I'm okay, ain't I? You know,
they need to know they need to know the emotion behind it. Yeah,
it's love. It's not. You know. I'm not giving it to you no other way. I'm expressing my love, my care. So when I go out and do what I do, I'm here this morning because of them. Mm-hmm. I'm not here because of me. I'm not here because I feel like I gotta come here and talk to you. I just have that in me to go out there and share, you know, what I want to share, because I know at the end of the day it continues this road that I have that I don't see where the end is at. I don't see the end.
You take the next best step.
Hey. The thing I live by is
or in your case, more than one step.
Exactly, but I live by one thing: wherever the wind may blow me. And if I'm going this direction, if the wind blows me left or right, I'm gonna take it because that's where it wants me to go. And that's how I feel. You know, in life, you have a obligation to take care of what's yours and the people that you love the most and that's dear to you. And I try my hardest to do that. And at the end of the day, the examples I set is by my actions, not by my words.
Be the best you can be. So where can we find you if we want? You said you have Route 89 coming out this summer.
Well, you can find me everywhere. Just knock on wood and I might appear. Nah, I'm messing with you. But I mean, right now I'm working on a podcast here at Podcast Village.
Santana Moss Show.
The Santana Moss
on
Show.
Apple.
My co-host is one of the best I don't think it's a better co-host that I have
He's
than
really
I have
good.
in Travis Thomas. He's to me, he's the quarterback of the show. Besides that, I'm an analyst on NBC Sports during the season. Even in the off season, I'm jumping in there and jumping out of there like double dutch. I'm here every now and then. But upcoming this week, I will be on countdown to training camp on NBC. I believe it's just Thursday, the 28th. And besides that, this summer I will be taping episodes of Route 89, a show that I started last year. Glad that they're bringing it back. It's a show that shows a different side of me. I think now everyone's seeing the other side of me. They know that I'm not the quiet Santana that they thought I was. The guy that they say, well, Tanner, don't say much. Yeah, it's because I don't know you.
Right.
Once you get to know me, you understand a lot about me. And most of them is a lot of stories I have. But Route 89 is a show that it allows me to talk to the next best thing that's in our city, in the DMV, whether it's politicians, whether it's entrepreneurs, whether it's athletes. I get a chance to, sit in the car and do something that they enjoy to do, outside their world, and just talk life with them, And besides Route 89, I normally show up on the Chad Duke Show on 106.7 The Fan. Say, hey, Chris, I'm ready to do it again. Let's do it. Across my fingers, just in case you haven't talked to my representatives and we haven't got that, final for this year. But I enjoy doing that because Chad is a guy that I think highly of when it comes to being a jockey. Oh, he's the pro amongst pros.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar know how I feel about Chad. Chad is one of the reasons why I'm here, sitting here today.
Oh, good.
Doing what I'm doing with my podcast because he saw that in me and told me I need to, go down that path. But yeah, that's what I do, man. And then besides that, I have 89 Ways to Give, my foundation that I revamped. I'm always revamping something. It's to really mentor a lot of these youth in this area. I mentor kids all over. I literally have a phone book full of, collegiate stars now that was once high schoolers and middle schoolers that I share my number with, and they just call on me. And they just ask me questions that I didn't have a chance to ask pros or guys who went down that path. So that's what I do. I like to give to the youth because I believe they really are our future. Whether we see it or not, whether we believe it or not, we only could do so much. And soon it's going to be someone that have to take care of us and have to do the things that we're doing for the others. I remember seeing those checks that said Medicaid and Medicare. So I was taking care of somebody.
Right.
My taxes was going to somebody. So therefore, we're going to have to lean on these kids. So I love to give them anything they need when it comes to just inspiration or just, what got me to where I was at and what got me to where I'm at now. So I do a lot of that. And the end of this summer, I will be ending my summer before my workload gets heavy. June 9th to June 13th. I have the Moss Academy down in Leesburg where I have football. It's a football camp that we're not teaching football. I can't make your kid a better football player. But what we like to do is teach them, work on their character, work on, some of the traits and some of the attributes that you want out of any kid, the want to and the responsibility of getting up every morning to come out here and do something that you don't have to do. We teach them leadership. We teach them more than just, being here and saying we're going to run through these drills. We show them what it took for us to be dominant in what we do. It's not all about being the best when it comes between these lines, but it's about being able to think better than the next guy, and we try to teach them all that. So the Moss Academy is something that I'm doing annually every summer, and I'm lucky to say right now, before June 9th has even got here, we got 50 kids. We started with 20-something last year. We doubled it already, so I'm looking forward to it.
Too bad you don't take 2-year-olds.
We take 7 to 17. I wish I can take a 2-year-old because I know I got one, and the way she acts, I don't think I want somebody else 2-year-old.
Oh, that was semi-bad joke. But anyway, Tana, it's been so great having you. I want to encourage everyone to please look for more from Santana Moss because this is just the beginning. You think you've seen it, and you have not. So tune in. We'll share all the links below the Amateur to Pro podcast. We're so happy to have you here. And if you want more for yourself, then find us on the website, look into our free resources, and join us for an implementation intensive. I'm Ryan Argentieri. Thanks for being here.